And this is something that it is very, very alarming. No one can decipher why. How come you're talking about, procuring items, you're talking about, getting air tickets to a state where there is no even airport? Do you want to say that you are more wiser than every other person in Nigeria? Or you want to come back again and say you are paying, a huge sum of amount of money into a particular individual account? These things are very, 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 I cannot even explain it. Now, look. So, what's up, my people? You're welcome yet again for another section of this program. My name is Joseph Kabulo and I remain your host. It's really been a while, please bear with me if I am shouting over my voice. My microphone just decide to just stop working. So I decided to use, the inbuilt microphone within my camera. So please bear with me if I'll be shouting a little bit. I'm trying to do justice to that. So over the next coming few weeks, depending when my order comes in, I'll be speaking more relaxed. But for now, we just want to be talking in depth about the last week issue that I brought up here in the program concerning our lawmakers, concerning Edu, Betty, concerning Sadiya Farouk. This issue of corruption is a cankerworm that has been eating deep for a very long time. Of course, what has been happening in Nigeria. The issue of corruption, just like when you check a lot of reference books, you see one particular word existing more and more than every other written words in that book. In Nigeria, the case here is corruption. Corruption is one word that is more renowned than every other word that you can think of in this life. It is very, very sad that Nigerians don't want to open their eyes, and then our lawmakers and our politicians don't want to stop this corruption. You can imagine that. Look at what Betta Edu did. Betta Edu alleged, a lot of discrepancies in the transactions that she had carried out that, made EFCC called her into book. And this is something that it is very, very alarming. No one can decipher why. How comes, you're talking about, procuring items, you're talking about, getting air tickets to a state where there is no even airport? Do you want to say that you are more wiser than every other person in Nigeria? Or you want to come back again and say you are paying, a huge sum of amount of money into a particular individual account? These things are very, 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 I cannot even explain it. Now, look at the time when her predecessor was in the office, Sadiya Farouk. Sadiya Farouk, they were the ones, handling the Empower program that was then spearheaded by the office of the Vice President, Professor Sibajo. And now, when that program came, a lot of Nigerian youths benefited. Even I myself, at a point, I was a beneficiary. So, because of that, the program at a point, experienced a downfall in the sense that it was halted. And when it became halted, nobody knew why it was halted. The first batch that benefited in that program, the first two batch A and B, they were halted. Batch B did 2 years, batch A did 4 years, and then we had other batches that were registered and inaugurated into the program, but some of them did not even do months and the program became halted. And then they brought up another extended program to serve as sustainability to that particular Empower program. And when youths went back to the portal to indicate their interest by registering, nobody ever heard anything concerning that program. So sad. Which means that now the then minister, she has left the office and nobody has said anything concerning that. This is how corruption is. When an initiative comes up, you see, and people begin to see the dividends. At a point, they halt it, and then you never hear anything. There are a lot of programs like that. If the EFCC and ICPC it decides to probe further, you discover a lot of things that you are yet to discover. I feel all these other discoveries are just the tips of the iceberg. So this is the sad story of all the initiatives that we've been having over time, and it has really beat my mind, and I don't know how can we solve this problem. The only problem is we need to get someone policing the police in the sense that who is really checkmating all these things. Don't be surprised to hear that Betta Edu will go free, and Tinubu is just going to use her as a propaganda that is fighting corruption. It's a lie. All of them are the same. I don't see anybody fighting any corruption. Everybody is just there for their own government. Nobody is really going to do. Tell me, like, how hard is it? How hard is it? Like, we have a lot of countries they will set aside some certain amount of money for development. And yet, when you go to those countries, you will see those developments. You will see it on ground. We don't have a lot of middlemen or a lot of people that the money needs to pass through before such structures or development needs to be put in place. No. We don't have people downsizing the quality of the structures. We don't have people that will cause delays in putting those structures in place. But here in Nigeria, when a particular fund is being earmarked for a particular development issue or purpose, then it will take another 6 months to 1 year before you see that even begin coming into play. Why? Because we have a lot of processes that has caused delay in the procurement of the items that will facilitate the establishment of those developments. And then we have a lot of middlemen that will start downsizing the fund size. And by the time they start downsizing it, what happens? You begin to see that the reality of that development is far from establishment. So this is the problem of corruption. When people begin to handle money, when they have autonomy to handle bigger amount of money that ordinarily they are not supposed to handle, the temptation of touching such funds for their personal use or for greed or for embezzlement purposes begin to come into reality. And tell me, how do you want to fight corruption? Look at the unnecessary items in the line items that were slated in the budget for 2024. Tell me, what development purpose or what issues or what fact checks do you think the office of the First Lady will be playing in Nigeria? We have a lot of issues that are bothering the masses at large, and you have not put them into place. But you are earmarking funds for luxury cars, for yachts, for private jets, and for a lot of other benefits, vacations, and all that, just to ensure that you occupy the office. Like, who does that? So these are the things that will not hinder the establishment of development in Nigeria. So for example, if we are dealing with X million or X trillion naira as the budget for Nigeria, don't be surprised that just 10% of that budget have justification for structures that will be established. The remaining 90%, believe me, whether you agree with me, is all for corruption. And then we'll now have the next 4-5 years time, the EFCC fighting it or probing it, and that will be after the president might have ended his tenure or his tenure has elapsed. Then the incoming government will now start probing into the issues surrounding the affairs of spending the money and all that. So, and by the time they start fighting or start probing and checking and investigating, the new government's tenure would have elapsed, and that is how the issue will just die off. So corruption is never fought in Nigeria, and people who are poor becomes more poorer, people who are rich becomes more richer, and people who have the opportunity to steal will have more opportunities to steal, and then the country will keep on dilapidating, the naira value will keep on falling, and poverty level will keep on increasing. Yeah, like I heard someone saying on Arise TV some few days back, he said that poverty and corruption work hand in hand. they fuel each other. And I strongly agree with that, because where there is poverty, when you check what is the trigger, you discover that corruption is the trigger. Where there is corruption, you check that there is existence of poverty. Why? Because corruption has fueled the poverty for the people who are at the receiving end. So I don't know if I've provided value in this video. Nigerians, we really need to form a coalition. We really need to come up with a way that we are really going to fight this corruption in our nation. If we don't come up with a way, tell me, there was time I said that in the next 10, 50, 100 years, we'll be talking about this thing and nothing will change. Nothing will change about it. So what is your take on that? So this is my own take for today, and I hope maybe I've reached one or two persons. I've been able to touch one or two persons, but this is just for your reflections. Of course, you can drop your own option. You can drop your own reflections on the comment section. And please, if you are here to subscribe to this channel, please, I am pleading with you. This is one way that you can support my growth. I know a lot of you, when you come across my channel, you just tend to watch maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes. But if you've gotten this far, then you are the real MVP. You are truly supporting me. So to complete that support, please give thumbs up to this video, and of course, if you are here to subscribe, please click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so that when I drop such content, you'll be the first to know. So until next time I come your way again, I remain Joseph Kabulu. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.